Hello, big riggers. Thanks for joining me, Jim Campbell, as we talk all things trucking. This video is going to be a bit longer than usual. With that being said, I beg you to watch it all the way through to the end so that you truly get the full effect of exactly what is going on in America as it relates to the immigration problem that we have and how it relates to the trucking industry. The first part of this video deals with the crime problem Americans are dealing with all across the United States due to the open Mexican border policy. This also affects truck drivers as we load and unload freight in the very same cities that are now crime magnets due to the heavy influx of illegal immigrants. The second part of this video deals with the problems, issues, and deaths caused by having illegal immigrants drive tractor trailers in an unsafe manner across America's highways and being involved in horrific accidents. I will detail 5 of the most recent examples of illegal immigrant truck drivers being involved in accidents that killed, injured, and maimed innocent people. Please remember to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. I would also like to hear your views on this subject, along with any suggestions you may have with regard to how this situation can be fixed. So please leave me a comment with your thoughts. Thanks. So what is happening to our once great nation, and who do we blame? We have a wide open southern border with Mexico, where illegal immigrants are welcome to freely enter, roam across the United States, and do as they please. In turn, our government gives these illegal border crossers free access to everything from free housing to free cell phones to free money and free health care. Our government even gives these illegal immigrants plane, bus, or train tickets, so these illegals can go to any city in the United States they want and set up shop. And it's all bought and paid for at the taxpayer's expense. Is it any real wonder why, as of June 24, 2024, the United States national debt was over $34 trillion, which is about $6 trillion more than the United States gross domestic product GDP. The debt has been growing rapidly in recent months, with the United States adding about $1 trillion in debt every 100 days. Joe Biden's decision to grant mass parole for millions of illegal aliens, allowing them to remain illegally in the United States, only amplifies the devastating effects of increased illegal immigration on our society. Since Biden took office, over 6.2 million illegal aliens have been encountered at our southern borders, and over 2 million of them have been released into the United States. A considerable number of them have engaged in criminal activities once they settled. In 2023 alone, Border Patrol agents have encountered thousands of illegal aliens with prior criminal convictions, including assault, rape, and murder. The true extent of crimes committed by illegal aliens remains unknown because there are also over 1.5 million gotaways since Biden's term began. There have been more than a few chilling examples concerning the urgency of the situation. Alexis Sabarit, an illegal alien from Cuba with a history of violence, beheaded his girlfriend with a machete in July of 2021. In April of this year, Francisco Oropsa, who was deported 4 times over the past 14 years, gunned down 5 immigrants in Cleveland, Texas, including an innocent 8-year-old. In February of this year, Brian Marquez, who had deportation orders, but was still here in the United States, brutally murdered his roommate by beating him to death. In January of this year, Jose Hernandez faced 5 counts of indecency with a minor after allegedly sexually assaulting a young child multiple times. In the news right now are cases that include the arrest of Victor Antonio Martinez Hernandez, a 23-year-old illegal El Salvadorian migrant accused of raping and killing Maryland mother Rachel Morin. Martinez Hernandez had attempted to enter the country illegally 4 times after being accused of a similar murder in his native El Salvador, the last of which he was able to elude the detection of border security. In another recent case in the news right now, 2 Venezuelan migrants are accused in the killing of Houston area 12-year-old Jocelyn Nungare. In that case, suspects Johan Jose Martinez Rangel, 22, and Franklin Jose Peña Ramos, 26, entered the country illegally. The illegal immigrant problem has found its way into the trucking industry as well. Some trucking companies have taken to skirting the law and putting illegal immigrants behind the wheel of big trucks, and this has resulted in needless deaths and injuries on America's highways. In my opinion, trucking companies that knowingly hire and use illegal immigrant truck drivers need to be shut down immediately, and the court system needs to literally throw the book at them with the longest sentence and biggest monetary fines possible. Just recently, a South African worker who drove trucks for 2 Iowa companies despite being brought in on an H-2A visa rather than an H-2B visa filed a lawsuit against the companies involved. A federal court ruled the lawsuit could proceed. For those who are unfamiliar with immigration and visa types, H-2A visas are for temporary agricultural workers, and it allows employers or agents who meet specific regulatory requirements to bring foreign nationals to the United States to fill temporary agricultural jobs. Now the H-2B visas are pretty much the same thing, but for non-agricultural workers. A federal district court judge in Iowa denied Golden Opportunities International's motion to dismiss a case brought by Carol Hankum, a South African man working in Iowa under an H-2A visa. Golden Opportunities International is an immigration work placement company. The South African worker named Hankum claims the company conspired with 2 Iowa business owners to pay workers less for driving a truck by misclassifying their visa status. Filed last November, the lawsuit accuses Kuchenbecker Excavating, H.N.'s Farms Livestock, and its owners of exploiting numerous H-2A workers from South Africa by paying them agricultural wages but forcing them to drive a truck, which requires an H-2B visa and higher pay. Hankum began working for Kuchenbecker Excavating in July 2021. Hired as an H-2A worker, he was promised a prevailing wage of $17 per hour to help with seasonal work that included hauling and spreading chicken manure on fields. However, Hankum never performed any agricultural work. Instead, he drove a tractor-trailer, both interstate and interstate, hauling loads of construction materials for non-agricultural construction projects. In order for Hankum to drive a truck, the companies would need to apply for an H-2B visa, which allows seasonal work for non-agricultural purposes. By hiring Hankum as an H-2A employee, the companies were able to pay him at a much lower rate. If hired as an H-2B worker, Hankum would have been entitled to a pay rate of $25.30 per hour instead of the $17 per hour they were paying him. In addition to lying about the agricultural operations, both companies are accused of creating a scheme that employed an H-2A worker for several years rather than seasonally. Kenneth Kuchenbecker operated Kuchenbecker Excavation, while his daughter, Heather Smith, operated H.N.'s Farms. The two would trade off H-2A visas to give off the appearance of temporary work, the lawsuit claims. For example, Kuchenbecker Excavating filed a job order that expired in August 2022. H.N.'s Farms then filed a job order that began in August 2022, which was followed by another Kuchenbecker Excavating job order that began when H.N.'s Farms expired. According to the lawsuit, both companies submitted multiple temporary employment certification applications through the H-2A program. In total, they have filed more than a dozen H-2A applications that have brought exclusively South African workers on job orders beginning in 2018 to at least November of 2023. During that time period, more than 40 of those H-2A workers left the job before the end of their contracts due to harm they suffered from the company's multiple fraudulent misrepresentations in the job orders, according to the lawsuit. Another similar case in which a trucking company knowingly used illegal immigrants to drive a truck occurred this month, and the outcome was deadly when a 47-year-old illegal immigrant driver named Ignacio Cruz Mendoza was involved in a fatal crash while driving his semi-truck on Highway 285 in Jefferson County, Colorado. This accident occurred on June 11th, when Cruz Mendoza was hauling metal pipes and angle iron at the time of the wreck and overturned the truck while going at least 65 miles per hour in a 45-mile-per-hour zone. The wreck dumped the load of metal onto 5 other vehicles. 1 person was killed and 1 person was seriously hurt. Cruz Mendoza was not injured in the incident. Now, here comes the part that should really be pissing people off. Cruz Mendoza had been deported to Mexico at least 16 times since his arrest in 2002 and was ordered once again to be removed from the country just 2 weeks before this fatal incident. He was driving for Monique Trucking at the time of the accident. The company has been ducking reporters and has not commented on what happened and why Cruz Mendoza was working for them. This particular story is truly heartbreaking because this is a situation that could have been avoided. Something seriously needs to be done about illegal immigrants driving tractor trailers. License fraud is clearly a problem. Look at a few of these massive truck accidents recently. Several tragic incidents have occurred where undocumented illegal immigrant truck drivers cause fatal accidents on American roads. These heartbreaking stories highlight the urgent need for stronger road safety and immigration policies. Here are 5 of the most recent accidents involving illegal immigrant truck drivers. Juan Hernandez, an undocumented immigrant from Mexico, was driving a semi-truck on Route 35 in Texas on March 12, 2023, when he lost control and caused a horrific accident. The pileup involved multiple vehicles and resulted in 5 dead. Hernandez was arrested at the scene and charged with vehicular manslaughter and reckless driving. He is currently serving a 25-year prison sentence and faces deportation upon release. 5 people lost their lives in this tragic accident. Carlos Mendez, an undocumented illegal immigrant from Guatemala, was driving a semi-truck in Los Angeles on June 5, 2022, when he ran a red light at a busy intersection. The collision killed 3 people and injured several others. Mendez was found to have a fake driver's license and was immediately taken into custody. He was sentenced to 20 years in prison and is awaiting deportation proceedings. 3 people were killed and several others were injured. Maria Gutierrez, an undocumented illegal immigrant from Honduras, was driving a semi-truck in Florida on Route 95 on September 18, 2021, when she failed to brake in time, causing a deadly accident on a major highway. The collision resulted in a massive explosion, killing 6 people. Gutierrez was apprehended at the scene and charged with vehicular manslaughter. She received a 30-year prison sentence and will be deported after serving her time. 6 people were killed in the explosion. Pedro Morales, an undocumented illegal immigrant from El Salvador, was involved in a fatal accident in Chicago on February 7, 2021, while driving under the influence. Morales veered off the road and crashed into a residential area, killing a family of 4 in their home. Morales was arrested and charged with driving under the influence and multiple counts of manslaughter. He was sentenced to life in prison without parole and faces immediate deportation if ever released. A family of 4 was killed in this tragic incident. Luis Ramirez, an undocumented illegal immigrant from Nicaragua, lost control of his semi-truck in Albany, New York on November 14, 2020 on an icy road, causing a catastrophic accident. The collision involved several vehicles, resulting in 4 deaths and numerous injuries. Ramirez was arrested and charged with negligent driving and manslaughter. He received a 25-year prison sentence and will be deported after serving his sentence. 4 people were killed and many others were injured. These incidents have left a trail of grief and devastation. Families have been torn apart and communities have been deeply affected by the loss of loved ones. The emotional and financial toll on those involved is immeasurable. In each case, the drivers faced severe legal consequences, including charges of reckless driving, manslaughter, and driving without a valid license. These cases have highlighted the importance of enforcing strict driving regulations to prevent such tragedies. These tragic stories bring to light the urgent need for stronger road safety and stronger immigration policies. Ensuring that all drivers are properly licensed and trained is crucial to preventing future accidents and saving lives. And sadly enough, each time one of these horrific accidents takes place, the knuckleheads in government just scratch their noggins, appear to be amazed, and act as though they can't believe these truck accidents are happening. When in truth, it's the idiots running government that are encouraging these accidents to happen by not enforcing better training practices of truck drivers in general and by allowing these illegal immigrant drivers to be in the country to begin with. Truth be told, it's really not the immigrants' fault that is trying to come to America legally, as they are simply need jobs too. It's the government's fault. What is truly hard to fathom is the fact that our government goes through the trouble of setting up and maintaining an agency called the FMCSA at taxpayers' expense, or the National Highway Traffic Safety Association, or the National Transportation Safety Association at the taxpayers' expense, and then have the stones to tell us they are looking out for the safety of truck drivers, when in fact it's all BS. They won't do anything about actual safety. And then when there's a truck accident, they will act stunned and outraged and appalled and do an investigation. And that investigation will cost millions of dollars, once again at the taxpayer's expense. And when it's all said and done, they never really get to the root of the problem. So why does the truck accident rate continue to rise every year, even with all the rules and regulations they continue to put into place, like the electronic logs, which were supposed to help drivers get their rest and create a better safety environment on the nation's highways? Yet they still can't understand why the accident rates are going up and up, when the simple truth of the matter is they don't implement and regulate better training for the drivers. And to think the ATA actually petitioned to have no minimum amount of time behind the wheel prior to getting a CDL. And the FMCSA agreed to it. Unbelievable. It's completely irresponsible. You cannot learn to drive a truck sitting in a classroom, and a new truck driver will certainly not learn what they need to learn in a 3 or 4 week training course. When in truth, it's the idiots running government that are encouraging these accidents to happen by not enforcing better training practices of truck drivers in general, and by allowing these illegal immigrant drivers to be in the country to begin with. The whole system is broken, and the government is responsible for this mess, and they need to fix it. We can do our part by voting these politicians out of office that continue to give lip service to the real issues instead of doing something about it. That's it for now, my friend. Please remember to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Also, please leave me a comment along with any suggestions you may have with regard to how this mess can be fixed. See you in my next video. Take care. Thanks a lot. Remember, like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell below.